Yo, what is going on, guys? EJ here, bringing another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. Today, guys, I'm just going to be going over my main commanders that I use for PvP, and to show you which commanders I'll probably be using exactly the same commanders in Season 2. So this is going to basically be an update of what commanders I'd use and I'd recommend using in going into Season 2 for early PvP or late game PvP. Or we've even got a week and a half or so to go before Season 2. So we're going to have a look. Just so you know as well, guys, I have a ton of Season 2 information coming out soon. Can't release it yet, but as soon as I'm allowed to, probably just before the update, yeah. So much information, I can't go too much into it, but basically, as we know, there's new commanders, and there's going to be new special units, and the embassies and everything and stuff like that, and a whole lot more, so I'll have tons of information about that, like literally straight from the developers, so legit information, and I should have that coming out for you probably on the 24th, so make sure to subscribe if you'd like to know that information ASAP before the update even drops. But yeah, let's get into today's video, shall we, guys? Let's go. So we're going to start off today. We're going to go into my commanders. Now, I use 8 main commanders at the moment. They consist of ARAGON, Gandalf the White, BORROMIR, Gandalf the Grey, King Aragorn, and Radagast. I'm very lucky to have 3 tier 3s. But as you can see, the majority, as well as I use tier 3s, I use a lot of other guys that aren't. So THEODEN is a tier 2. We've got EOWEN tier 1, BORROMIR tier 1. So I'm just going to go briefly over these top 8 that I use and just explain to you why I use these top 8, show you all the skills, everything that I do. So yeah, let's start here with ARAGON, shall we? So ARAGON, I got to level 50. As you can see, with his armor and equipment and stuff like that, I've got it all to affect his might level. It's around 338 at the moment. I could probably have it higher, but I haven't leveled up a whole things a lot. But as you can see, my equipment and that and gear and stuff that I'm using on him is to increase his might, because he is a might commander. Now, if we go into his portrait here, you can see how I've got him skill. I have him respect 5. So I have hidden hair completely maxed, which increases Aragorn's skill damage. And then I've got increased the men damage by 21%, which makes an absolutely huge difference, guys. And then I also have men gain full stun immunity once versing orcs and Uruk-hai. I take that on and off depending when I'm versing evil. If I'm not versing evil, I usually would take that off and put the points into Enduril. Now, Strider is very good. If you have some good equipment like I have, I highly recommend Strider over any of Enduril or Dunedain Chieftain, which I don't even touch because he's already got good enough defense as it is. And with ARAGON, you want to be doing as much damage as possible early and taking out your opponent before they actually do a ton of damage to you. Of course, I've got Pursuit here, which basically gives me a better chance to counter their avoidance and stuff like that and do 280% damage of physical. And, of course, Raid skill here on round 2. So, yeah, I'm doing a lot of physical damage. That's what you want to be doing with ARAGON. A lot of physical damage. So, I will now show you how I set him up with his troops. So, if we go back over here into my army and we find ARAGON. So with ARAGON, I use man troops only, or manish troops. I use guardsmen, the Dunedain, who work very well with ARAGON, and my tier 4, which are a manish unit, the Swan Knights. Now, depending on who you are, you could use a different tier 4 there, or a different manish unit, maybe like, for example, one of Rohan's like Cavaliers or something like that. Or you could use, if you're like, Rohan or something, you can use your marshals. But basically, you want to have all manish units with him because you're going to get that extra added damage. Now, ARAGON doesn't really do any healing in that. He's just more about attack, damage, and destroy. So, this is my main setup with him. And I don't really change it because this is the best setup for ARAGON that I've seen. In regards to doing a ton of damage, guys. So, yeah, that's going to be ARAGON pretty much in a nutshell. So we'll go back to my commanders now, guys, and we're going to move on to the next one. who is Gandalf the White. I'll just talk about him pretty quickly because a lot of you guys don't have a lot of the tier 3s. Now, Gandalf the White, I don't even have him above respect level 0 yet. Hopefully in Season 2, I can get some more respect for him. Because once I get a respect level 1, I can unlock this, which is going to help me an absolute ton at getting a lot more focus damage, which is already at 400. With very low, may I say, armor and equipment and stuff like that. But I have this sort of him at the moment, which is not really the best one for him because I'm using a lot of my equipment on other commanders and stuff like that. And you can see here, this Plate of the Citadel is actually pretty good. It does a lot of good defense, but it also increases my focus. And the same with his helmet. So I need to get his respect level up. Now, the way I portrait him, I basically just max everything what I can. But yeah, he's really good with focus damage. So I'll show you, if you're very lucky enough to have him, who I use as a troop combination on him. So we go to Gandalf the White. Oathbreakers are an absolute must with Gandalf the White. Sometimes I'll use Eagles with him, depending who I verse, whether I'm versing good or evil. I mix up my troops all the time, but I usually, at the moment, I was battling some elves the other day. That's why I had Dunedain in there, because they're very good at countering the March Wardens. But usually I'd either have Eagles or Bears there instead. I always run the tier 4s because they're a good shield. And the Oathbreakers, of course, because of your focus damage. And that's basically going to be Gandalf the White there, guys. Next one we have is Borromir, which a lot of you guys probably have unlocked. Now, as you can see, Borromir is by far my most highest respect leveled commander. I really like him. As you can see, his equipment is extremely good here. Basically working on increasing his might. Now, his might's less than 300, but he does really good damage and stuff like that. So let me just go in and show you how I've got him set up. So with Borromir, I want to be working on his main Warden, Horn of Gondor, and High Warden of the White Tower, getting those max first. And then I work on the sub-goals of Well Prepared, which is very good because I like doing counter attacks because you do damage when it's not your turn. And then we've got Defensive Stance, which not only does physical damage, but it reduces physical damage received against on your melee units the next round. Warden, of course, is basically avoiding damage and increases melee HP, which I'll show you which units I use with him in a minute, because this effect of the HP plus 2 will come into effect in a minute when you see. And basically, Horn of Gondor, it increases the damage by the commander and army. Very good. And here, you're just going to be doing physical damage. As you can see, it prioritizes melee targets. It's all about him. It's just damage. But he also has that early avoidance as well, so he's not going to get as damaged earlier at the start. But let me show you how I set up the troops on Borromir. Now, Borromir does really good. He's a very good all-rounder. As you can see, I use a few setups. I've actually got him set up a bit weird at the moment. I always use bears with him. He's very, very, very good with bears. I was versing Mordor sort of recently, so that's why I had these guys on. Otherwise, I would definitely be taking those out and putting your tier 4 there, which I probably would be doing now. But I didn't really have any ranged on there, and I was versing some trolls and stuff. That's why I had those on there, but I highly recommend this setup. You can, if you're versing Rohan, you would rotate out your Dunedain and put your guards from there, because they're going to have a lot of mounted troops. But basically, I always run bears with Borromir. He does very good with bears, guys. Rightio, back to my commanders. The next one we got is King Aragon, who is, in my opinion, insane. He's my best and most favorite to use in the whole game. Not only does he do a tremendous damage and attack, he also heals as well. As you can see, his equipment, I've got it all set up for doing attack damage as well as increasing his might and speed. As well as Fine Smoking Pipe does a lot of healing. But the way I skill King Aragon, if you're lucky enough to have him, you know how good he is. I don't have him respect 5 yet. If I did, he would be an absolute god. I don't touch Enduril whatsoever. I basically work on his healing abilities as much as possible. His healing is amazing. You can, honestly, heal 50 to 60% in every battle. He's absolutely crazy. And I increase his damage. Strider is going to increase the base stats of equipment, which gives you more damage. And basically, it's the same here. You gain pursuit, so you can counter avoidance and do more physical damage. So yeah, I'm just doing a ton of physical damage, but also healing as well, guys, with King Aragon. Now, with the troops that I use for King Aragon, I do mix him up a bit, but I usually stick with bears, Dunedain, or guardsmen, depending here or there who I'm versing, and always to tier 4. I do not stray from this. It is the best troop setup for King Aragon, without an absolute doubt, guys. Bears work beautifully with King Aragon, the same with Borromir. Right, guys, so the next one is Radagast, who in my opinion is the best defensive commander in the entire game. As you can see, I have a lot of equipment here to affect his focus. I have his might level is not very high because he is a focus attacking commander. But I don't really work too much on his focus. He already has very good base. I have him set up, as you can see here, so we can do, you get reduced damage, you get a lot more healing, as well as eagle speed, which gets less. You gain stun immunity with eagles, and you heal beast. That's how I set him up at respect 5. If you don't have respect 5, you definitely want to have, say you have respect 3, you want to have all these healings done, have your breath, and then work on leveling up your wizard. Now, with troops for Radagast, I'll show you right now, this is the absolute best setup for Radagast in the entire game, without absolute doubt. You want to be using Ents for his amazing defense. Now, his abilities on round 2, Ents will take all the damage for the first round, and in second round, they'll all get healed. And you will lose less with your healing abilities. And then, with your bears and eagles, they're both beasts. Every round, you're going to be healing 100% of health for these guys. So yeah, this is the best setup for Radagast for defense. He does pretty good damage. Like, I've done like around about 200,000 damage with him. But it's all about his defense. Like, he hardly gets any damage on him, and he will defend for ages, guys. Alright, so let's move on to our next commander, who I will be using. Now, a lot of you guys probably have these guys, except for the tier 3. So hopefully some of these will help you out. THEODEN. Now, THEODEN and EOWEN are pretty much the same. I don't have the best equipment for THEODEN at the moment. I do have him respect 3. That's where he gets very good, because as you can see here, every round, mounted units get 75% chance of recovering 45% HP. But I actually only use 2 units of mounted, because I use this healing ability here, which also does 2 allied units recovery of 120% HP each round 7 onwards. So I could use all mounted. I do a lot more damage, and basically I've got it so I can remove debuffs and stuff like that. But basically, how I set him up, I'll show his troops. I sometimes use all mounted, but at the moment I've been using just 2 mounted, and then using either guardsmen or Dunedain. Otherwise, yes, you're going to be doing a lot of healing, but you do need a certain troop in there to counter them. Because if you're going against people, like, let's say, the elves, and they're using the March Wardens and stuff like that, you're going to be doing some damage, but you're going to be doing really good healing, but you're not going to have, like, those Dunedains in there to take out their T4s, and even though you can heal a lot, you're still going to receive a lot of damage. So that's how I set up THEODEN there, guys. Pretty simple. The same with our EOWEN, exactly the same pretty much. I'll show you with her. Basically, I set it up exactly the same, but she has a healing ability up here which recovers HP for melee units. So not only am I healing all my mounted, I can use like guardsmen, for example, which I'll show you who I use in a moment. At the moment, you can see I'm using White Lady, and then I'm increasing EOWEN's damage with Helm, and then Rohirrim, which is really good for damage and stuff like that. I don't have her the highest respect level. I'm trying to get her to level 50 at the moment. I use Giant Slayer if I'm versing trolls and stuff like that. If not, I preferably would either work on men damage if I'm using a lot of men, which I usually don't, but basically, if I'm using like Guardsman and the T4 units with her, then I usually will use this skill. Otherwise, I'll probably either use Cleave or Riding Excellence, which reduces mounted units damage, which is very good once again. But I'll show you which troop units I sort of use with her. So, as you can see, at the moment, I have Bow Knights and the T4 on her and the Dunedain because I was purging some elves recently. But you can change these out for Guardman or just have all three mounted. But a lot of people, the reason why I like to use things like Dunedain and stuff, or bears or something sneaky in there, everyone just presumes with EOWEN or THEODEN that you're just going to use all three mounted all the time, and they're going to put anti-mounted in there to affect you. So that's why you want that counter in there. Now there's a lot of other really good commanders in there, like Howdir and that and stuff like that. I don't really use them. I'll probably be working on a few more of them. Like I will be working on Arwen in Season 2 because she has amazing healing. As you can see, Faramir and stuff I haven't really touched much. I've basically been working on those 8 guys. So yeah, that's basically just going to be the video there. Pretty quick, easy. Just basically showing you what I'm using at the end and who I will be working on for Season 2. Which not only for PvP, but they're going to help me out drastically with getting tiles and everything early in Season 2. But yeah, once again guys, don't forget I'm going to have a ton of information coming out soon. So until next time guys, peace out, EJ's out, and I'll catch you later. See yous. Thousands of the EJU army, yeah, you guys are legends to me, so let's keep up this grind. I'll never give up, just like this rhyme.